Hello.
Hello everybody, today we're doing another video of Wheel of Time. This time we're doing Towers of Midnight by Robert Jordan. Second to the last book of the series, which makes it what, book 14? Yep, book 14.
Really?
Yeah. And so,
50 books a series?
yeah, pretty good book. It's kind of, well, yeah, it's pretty good. I was going to say it's kind of uneven on some people's storylines. So I guess we'll just start with the meeting between Iguain and Rand.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the first time I think these two characters have met since book 4. I can't remember what book 4 is called. Let's see, I get the list of books right here. The Shadow Rising. So that's 10 books ago. No, I'm wrong, aren't I? Yeah, I'm wrong. Yeah. Since book Lord of Chaos? Is it Lord of Chaos?
Mm.
You don't know. I think it's since book 6. It's been a lot of books, but book 6, and the last time they met, were together. Iguain was just a lowly little student of the Aiel Wise Ones, and now she's the Amerlin Seat. And just like in book 1, I guess, they kind of clash, you know, and this one as well. Kind of brings back memories. It's kind of like, get these two farm kids, and now all of a sudden they end up being rulers of some very important organizations. You got Rand's.
You can't say Rand's a part of an organization. That's too small of a word to describe it.
He's this king of like the
everything.
Of practically what 3/4 of the continent they're on. I don't know. What is the continent? What is
never says.
Never says.
I don't think the rulers ever decide to come up with a word for it. They're just like, we're just. I mean, none of them. It's okay. Like each one is basically just like its own country,
right?
Like, even if it's not big, like it's not a big continent based on the map, right? But like, it's. I mean, it's a continent, so it's gonna be pretty big, but still, like, not as big as someone might think. And it's just like everyone's just kind of like it. It's just no one likes each other. So like normally on a continent, right?
It's kind of like Europe.
Yeah, like normally on a continent or country, right? Like on a continent, right? People usually get along, and they eventually name it something, right?
I guess.
Right, because let's pretty sure that's how most things happen.
Well,
either someone just went there and was like, "All right, this is a new continent."
A lot of continents, you know, Europe, you got wars. Asia, you had wars.
I didn't say they got along for very long.
Africa, there's wars.
I didn't say they had peace for very long.
Okay. Well, anyways, wherever they're at, he's the ruler about 3/4 of that area.
The other fourth is
Swanchin at this time.
Territory.
Yep. And then Iguain, she's over the Aes Sedai, and the meeting didn't go very well. It went downhill so fast. Yeah. But it was really entertaining. Yeah, it was nice to see them interact together as leaders.
And the fact that nobody seemed to notice that the sky became bright and clear when he was there was really funny.
And the food was good.
Nobody seemed to tie that with Rand, and then like how everything kind of went back to normal when he left was like, I don't know why you guys can't see this. He's obviously like more than you think.
And like all the Aes Sedai are like in awe of Rand, except for maybe Swan.
Awe? You mean terror?
Yeah, awe. Well, you could be both, except for maybe Swan, and definitely Egwene's not. And basically,
Egwene's terrified.
Yeah, well, Egwene's not terrified.
Yeah, she's freaking out. She's having a panic attack.
Egwene?
Yeah, she's trying very hard not to let that slip.
Oh,
she is having a panic attack.
I guess you're right now. I'm thinking about it. But
Rand walks in, and he's talking all this, and she's just like, this guy's insane.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was so calm while being shielded, like, just... it made her very uneasy. Like, what can he do? Like, can he do something to get out of it?
Right, but her reaction compared to the other Aes Sedai is
It's much better
Yeah.
than what they are. They are like so petrified.
Yeah.
They literally just can't move.
yeah. The other
Like,
ones
they're
are
just
petrified.
At least she can move,
Yeah,
but she's still very scared.
yeah. Well, she's scared that he's crazy, kind of thing. You know, not realizing that he's already
Especially when
Cured.
he's like, we should break the seals, and she's like,
right.
no, and I'm
Yeah.
like, yes, you should.
So
You
they-
should do that.
So they basically the meetings about what to do right before the last battle, and
No, it's mainly just him going there and being like, yeah, I'm gonna break the seals.
Right.
Bye.
yep.
And then he's
well,
gone.
well, he tells them we're gonna have this meeting. You get your people, to people who follow you. I'll get my people who follow me, and we'll meet together.
Oh,
Yes.
that's her. No, she comes up with that idea.
Oh yeah.
And it's not even with him there. He just leaves, and then she's just like, all right, we got to gather up a bunch of people who does not support this and just shove them in this area. And
Right.
Rand was like, oh, you're doing that? Cool. I'll do it too.
Yep. Yes. Right. I'm not remembering right. It's been a while since I read this.
No, Egwene's not that. Egwene's very irrational sometimes.
Right. In this book, she's kind of frustrating. I mean, not only because she gets upset with Rand about breaking the seals, which I can kind of see her point of view.
That at least makes sense.
Yeah.
But like other things when she's just like freaking out about other things, it's like, just stop.
Right.
Stop. Do your job.
Yep.
Stop worrying about this. It has no importance whatsoever.
Right. So after he leaves, like you said, we find out that a lot of the Aes Sedai were able to speak. A lot of them had a hard time breathing.
And it had nothing to do with being Tom Bear.
Yeah. You think it was this?
It was just his presence in general.
Yeah. Do you think it was them overbuilding it, or you think he had something to do, or you think he was using some power?
What power was he gonna use?
Well,
he was being guarded.
Yeah, but he can go deeper. He can use the true source.
Yeah, but he's not going to.
No, but
No one is dumb enough to do that except for Ishamel.
well, do you think
and
that?
Randall. Those two were.
Do you think he was because of him, or do you think it's because the Aes Sedai in the room were
You're just scared.
were putting too much emphasis on him?
No, I think they put the right amount of emphasis on him. You don't want to mess with him. I
Right.
mean, not that he was going to do anything too bad, since originally he would have, but he wouldn't. But he wouldn't do anything then. So it was like, but yeah, he was like really calm, and just like him being calm in such like a bad situation for him probably unnerved some of the Aes Sedai, considering he spoke. Like, the way his presence in general could be really intimidating, especially if your whole life you've been thinking of the Dragon Reborn as a tool that needed to be safeguarded.
Right.
And then all of a sudden he just comes knocking on your door and is like, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
Like, you're going to be pretty scared. Like, oh, no. Considering they also stuffed him into a box, too.
Right. Well, yeah, but like you said, they did have him guarded, and like usually when somebody's guarded, he was this all confidence. Confident, and then it's probably set him back a little bit too.
Yeah, because they expected him to be like trembling at the might of the White Tower, and I'm like, the White Tower is like a pincushion compared to him. Like, the amount of things that have been shooting through that little shield of theirs that they claim to have over their area is really just sad. Like, they're like, yeah, we're able to protect this really well, right? As Swanshan comes, blows holes in their tower. They have to fix the tower.
Yeah.
They have a rebellion before that. Then they have other things that happen. Black Aja put little holes in it. I'm just like, you guys are so dumb.
Yeah. Like, their whole perspective has kind of been shattered. Also,
which is always fun to see, especially when they're stuck up.
Yeah. Yes. And also, that's kind of important in this part is, like, the two people who are not as affected as the other Aes Sedai are Swan and Iguain. And they're the two people who knew him before now. Like, Iguain knew him her whole life, of course. And Swan met him before he was able to gain all this power.
Yeah, they were still pretty scared.
Yeah, they were still nervous. So that meeting didn't go well at all. It kind of sets the tone for what happens at the beginning of the next book when they have their grand meeting.
I half expected Iguain to just be like, "All right, grab him," and I would have been just like, "You guys are so dumb."
Right.
Like the fact that they view him as a tool to be used is really, really like. I just feel like their intelligence drops at certain points, and those are especially one of the points considering they have all these prophecies of him. And it said that he would be the one in control, not them. And I'm like, yeah, you guys like to just... You have very selective reading and hearing, don't you?
Yeah. Iguain can be, in this, can be kind of frustrating, especially how she treats Gawain.
Yeah, Gawain's like, alright, I'm going to try and save you. And she's just like, alright, go. And he's like, but I want to help!
Right. I mean, Gawain is as knowing as a hero as Elaine, but I'm kind of on Gawain's side on this one.
The only one from the Traken family that I would say is an actually good hero is Galad, and he's still not exactly the best.
Yeah. But in this one, I guess because I know a lot, because as a reader we know a lot more of what's going on, I kind of side with Gawain
because
over Elaine, but... Iguain, I mean.
Well, I mean, Iguain's just stubborn. If she says everyone else is stubborn, I'm like, yeah, talking to you is like talking to a brick wall.
Yeah, she can be very stubborn.
It's funny how some of the characters in this, both male and female, because they're both always like, they're both saying the other is really stubborn.
Well, yeah, that's the one thing.
And then it's like... And it's like they're all. Then it's like some of those people are like just equally as stubborn as the thing that they are. So like Iguain saying that Rand's like the most stubborn person she's ever met, and I'm just like, you've looked into a mirror, right? Because obviously he's not.
Yeah.
At least he changes his mind sometimes.
Yeah, she doesn't really change her mind very much. She's not very.
She doesn't ever change her. She's never changed her mind ever. Ever. I don't remember a single time in which she's changed her mind. She's said something and stuck with it until
the end of time. I'm trying to think.
Go and she will keep on going. She is the most stubborn person I've ever.
Even on the seals, she doesn't really change her mind. I mean,
she doesn't even like it. Like, you can't say she changed her mind about it because she still doesn't like it.
Yeah. I have to think. It's kind of hard when doing a video, right? To think of a time when she had her mind made up on something, and somebody proved her wrong, and she changed her mind. Maybe with Gawain, but then it was too late because he was like almost dead on the floor when she finds him, and she's like, "Oh, you were right, yeah."
I think we all do that.
Yeah,
you were a little late to the party there.
Yeah.
And then like this is the part when Perrin comes in and shows her up.
Yeah,
right. She's like. Okay, Perry, you gotta go. There's some really dangerous people here.
Yeah.
Someone throws balefire at him. He's just like, and it goes away, and she's just like, excuse me. Right. And then when she tries to drag him away with ropes, they just go on the ground, and she's just like, what? Now?
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little later. We'll talk about that a little later with the dream battle.
Every time Iguain gets put down, I think it's just the funniest thing because she has such a high horse. It's just so satisfying to watch it cut down a few things.
Yeah, because it was good. Like her character was good, like the two previous books. But then once she comes this Armland seat, is like she's just so
She changes so quickly, and I'm like, you are so weird. Why do you do this? She went trained with the Aiel, right? And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. And then what I expected is that she would go and be the Merlin, right? And she would have the Aiel kind of like things, like the honor, kind of like an honor system, right? No, she never uses it. I've never seen her do anything with the Aiel honor system when she became a Merlin seat. Like, she only ever thought about like maybe how a wise one would do something, right? But that's about as far as it goes. Other than that, she's acting like full on Aes Sedai, and I'm just like, you are such a terrible person.
In a lot of ways, she's like a mini Elida.
She's like Elida, but not bad. Basically, take away all of the bad aspects of Elida and then put them into Iguain. Right. No, not the bad aspects, the good ones, right? And then add the Caemlyn way of getting power, and then you've got Iguain by the end of the book. Like, that's pretty much how it works.
Yeah, something like that.
She's just... And then she was getting mixed up with having, with going easy on someone and then going really hard on them, and I'm like, yeah, you totally didn't do anything biased.
Right.
Right.
But we do get to see her best being political wise when she calls in the wise ones and then the ship folk.
Sea folk.
Yeah, the sea folk, and how she's able to compromise a kind of like a treaty where everybody are sharing their knowledge with each group, which shows that she's grown and grown on how to be more political and compromise and that kind of aspect.
But before that, she wanted to drag everyone in, and that's another thing I really hate about the White Tower is that. They're like, if they can channel, they come here. And I'm just like, why?
Right. Well, that's the thing. Iguain, that's one thing that she is doing that she does good is that she's starting to change that a little bit.
Yeah, she's like, you can do what you like.
But in a way, though, by doing that, she's also has her alternative motive is that the White Tower will
have more influence.
Yeah, will influence the other ones to change, the other groups to change their ways.
She's so annoying. Like everyone in the White Tower, except for like maybe a select few, are just so annoying because they won't let anyone be. They just, it's like if they don't bother someone in a certain amount of time, they're like gonna die or something.
Right.
Like they just. Like with the sea folk, right?
Yeah.
The sea folk for most of the series were terrified of the White Tower finding out they had channelers.
Yeah.
Because they knew once they found out, they'd be dragged by the collar right back to the White Tower, and it'd be like the end of their culture.
Yeah.
Just.
Well, yeah. So that by this way, she wants to share the knowledge, but she feels like the White Tower will be able to kind of infiltrate the other societies and get them to be more like the White Tower.
Which is really dumb because the White Tower obviously has horrible flaws, and nobody seems to see that when they're in the White Tower. Like, all the Aes Sedai never seem to actually see that the White Tower is flawed beyond reason.
Well, because they've grown up and they get, you've grown up and they're kind of indoctrinated about how great the White Tower is.
I don't know, but if I was like, say, if I was there, right, and I'm like, yeah, the White Tower is pretty cool, and then all of a sudden I learned about all this crap going on, I'm like, yeah, maybe they're not so trustworthy. Like, I wouldn't stick around for that.
That's what Iguain does that. She sees how good that the wise ones are and how the wise ones are strong in this area. And so that's what she sees in the other cultures as well.
Yeah, but they're all really still just really annoying.
Yeah. Well, anybody with
they keep wanting
power like that are.
They keep wanting to spread their influence, and I'm just like, yeah, just like you can help people. I'm okay with that. You can like go and advise someone. Like I'm okay with you sending advisors and stuff, but don't try and be like tying strings to everyone. That's really irritating.
Yeah. They want to keep them close. So let's move on from there. I guess then we'll go from one tower to the next, the Black Tower. At the end of this, we start to see the Black Tower storyline coming up. Yeah,
because none of the skyscrapers in this area are good. Like literally none of them. If it's a tower, it's bad.
Right.
So it doesn't matter what it is. If it has the word tower at the end of it, then you know it's gonna be messed up at some point.
Well, the Black Tower was kind of doomed from the start with Mazrim Tame because he was already kind of being influenced by the Forsakens, recruited by them. He's already starting to get dreadlords and stuff like that. And so we see Andril and Pavara begin their relationship.
Yeah, and it goes like this. It goes like this. You know when a kid, right? You know when a kid hits another kid, right? When they're really young? They do that, and that kid will hit them back, right? And then you have two crying kids. Well, the thing is that something like this happens. Pavara's like, in retaliation of the bonding thing out of fear, she bonds Andril. And Andril is like, and he bonds her back. And I'm just like, why?
They double bonded.
I'm like, why did you do that? Like, it's cool and all, but why did what was going through your head at the moment?
Right. I mean, it wasn't supposed to be able to do that. So I guess men.
Nobody's ever actually attempted it since everyone's
I guess the men can bond women in two ways, either by a kiss or through the one's power. And I guess the kiss way is a stronger bond because.
What?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
You don't. Yes.
I don't remember anything.
Logain, when he bonds.
Oh, that was with physical.
Yeah.
He explained it was physical touch.
Yeah, he kisses her.
Yeah, but that was his choice of physical touch.
And that was a strong bond.
Yeah, because that was his choice. I mean, it was just his physical choice.
But when Andro bonds Provera, it's not through a touch.
Yeah, because there's already a link there.
Yeah. So, it seems to be two different bonds.
I mean, that's obvious. There's the bond that compels somewhat of an obedience. So it's like, it's not exactly compulsion. It's just kind of like an urge to do what someone says. You can you can deny it.
That's what Logain used.
But so that one requires physical touch. And then there's the warder bond, which it doesn't exactly require it, but is more so recommended for physical touch. Right. And I learned something new, is that you can actually bond them or draw.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting. You can look it up on the Q&A
I'm not even going to do... We're not even going to go there. We're just talking about the book.
I know. That goes into a whole other rabbit hole. But it's really cool to know.
I think it's idiotic.
It's cool to know, though.
That's stupid.
What do you mean it's stupid? It's cool to know.
It's stupid.
How? It's cool. I think it's kind of cool to think of a fade that has all of the augments of a warder along with its own augments.
Yes.
Like, that'd be really cool to think about.
I think it's made up fiction stuff.
But it's on the Q&A site. People literally asked.
Okay, well...
You can find it yourself.
Okay, I just think it's idiotic.
I mean, it kind of is. I don't know why anyone would do that, and no one would really want to. And you know how mad Patton Fane is. Apparently, if one did that, if he technically bonded one, he would be able to resist the urge of the maddening things to get from that fade. Because you know how fades are. They have no emotion. Okay, no, that's not true. Yeah. They just don't laugh at it.
Okay, let's go back to here. Get back on track here. So we get Andro and his friends, and we get to meet more of the Black Tower and their people.
And we also start getting some possession as well. That's a new thing.
Possession. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I kind of want to learn a little bit more about, but it still kind of increases the fact of like how unsettling it is.
Yeah.
Just like you don't really know what it is, but it's like speculation.
Right. So so they're using magic to get these people to basically, I don't know what you would say.
When I read the part about 13 channelers and 13 fays being able to convert someone, I remembered it, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. It was mentioned in one of like the really early books.
Yeah. Well, they used, was it 13 Aes Sedai to help Matt get over his the knife curse.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
That's 13 bonded Aes Sedai is really strong. So like 13 bonded Aes Sedai along with the Fade's bonding abilities, considering they're able to bond the Trollocs, that was never explained, but like I guess it's like they're directly tying them to the shadow because that's what Fade is pretty much. It's just a small portion of the Dark One, and then so it's just like they can. It's like when you put a string on a puppet and then put another string to the ventriloquist, and so the ventriloquist can move the puppet without really needing anything to do so. They just kind of have it on their finger and just like.
Right. So yeah. So like you're saying, we learn that there's some very dark stuff going on at the Black Tower. And it's probably going to hurt the reputation for a while.
Reputation, not repetition.
Repetition. Especially with the Aes Sedai who already frowns upon them.
No, it wouldn't hurt their thing. It just hurt the image of Mazrim Taim. Because, you can't blame no Black Tower for something the leader does. Yeah. Just like how you can't blame a bug for coming into your house if it was told to do so.
I think one of the Ashramen says that to the Aes Sedai as well.
Yeah, the Ashraman's just like, it's Mazrim Taim was a really bad guy, but you know who wasn't? Me. I'm not.
Yeah. Alright, so then we go to Perrin and Fayu, and then we get this weird. I kind of feel like they're like, what do we need to give? We need to give Perrin some kind of storyline. I know. Let's give him the storyline where he's on trial for something he did 3 years ago.
Because that's the only reason okay, look, I kind of saw that coming. Because the White Cloaks were under this impression that Perrin was some kind of shadow spawn.
Right.
And I was like, because totally a shadow spawn would care for his people, right? He'd totally do all this stuff, right? Because he works for the Dark One, and the Dark One wants to destroy everything.
Right.
So...
the White Cloaks are a weird bunch. They're kind of like the Aes Sedai in a
The
lot
only-
of ways.
The
where-
only intelligent one is Galad, and he's still kind of dumb.
Yeah, well, he wasn't. Yeah, but he was kind of drafted into the White Cloaks. The White Cloaks in a way are like the Aes Sedai. They feel like they're the ones who have the true knowledge, and that they're the most righteous people, and that they're
And then they
willing
go
to
and
do.
slaughter entire villages
Right,
just
'cause
for
they're-
secrecy. And I'm like, yeah, because the light wants you to do that, right?
Well, they believe that the means justify the ends. Like, long, it doesn't matter what you do to people, long as it in the
like
end it comes out good.
Elaine, just like Elaine's thought process.
Well, sort of.
What?
But-
No, Elaine will go through anything to get to what she thinks
Yeah.
is right.
Right. Well,
And
this is
just
how these
proven
people.
by how bad. That's why she's such a bad hero. She'll do anything to get
Right.
what she assumes.
All right,
is
we're not
right.
talking about Elaine. We're talking about the White Cloaks. So White Cloaks are willing to kill 30 innocent people.
And parents are not
And-
able to kill.
But it's so
one.
well. The White
No.
Cloaks, White Cloaks will kill 30 innocent people, and or we'll kill 30 people. If 29 of those people are innocent and one of them are a dark friend,
They say
they'll
it's worth it.
yeah, they'll say it's worth it.
But with Perrin, it's like he would view that as a complete loss.
Right. So we kind of get this in between Perrin and Galad, and we've got a couple of Galad's advisors, I guess you call them, are
Galad
very,
makes their lane.
very hate. They
They
very much,
hate.
very much hate Perrin because of what happened back in book 1.
They don't. They. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so their opinion because
Was it
he
book
knows.
2?
No, it's book 1, and because
Book 1 ended with Ishamel being impaled.
yes, they did, but they got separated there after the Shalagoth, and they got Perrin and Iguain got captured by the White Cloaks.
Oh yeah.
Like that one thing.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about a different incident.
Oh,
but then
no.
but that's more of a single person's
Right.
personal matter. I think Bromhold was his name, right?
Yeah,
They
something like
thought
that.
he killed Bromhold's dad, and
Right.
it was like, no. Perrin was like, yeah, he was actually really cool. I liked him. He was pretty nice.
Yeah. So because Galad has he knows these two people, he's gonna believe them more than Perrin, who he doesn't know at all. And Perrin has these yellow eyes, and he kind of looks intimidating, and he kind of looks like he might be a dark spawn. Shadow spawn, yeah. Yeah, so like you said, then we get the meeting between Galad and Berlin, which kind of helps Fael out, because after this moment, Berlin's no longer really chasing after Perrin.
Yeah, she's been struck by Cupid's arrow.
Yeah, both of them have. Both of them, because he's like...
They're both they're both really pretty people, and like
Yeah.
I don't know why I never saw it coming, because they were both like really chalked up to being really pretty, and I was like, and it never seemed to click that they could have met
Yeah.
and become a couple.
And they both have the effect of the opposite sex and stuff. Like, everybody sees Galad, can't always think about him. All the women who sees Galad
Think
love
about him, even if they don't love him, they're
Yeah.
always just like, he's really pretty.
Right, and then Berlain's the same way. Even Fael admits that Galad's really...
Except for Perrin. Perrin
handsome.
seems to be very resistant against her.
Right, yeah.
In fact, it comes to the point where he literally just wants her to get out of his face.
Right. And so, yep, and then we get Morgase finally, her secret's finally revealed, that she's actually the queen. And this puts a bridge between Morgase and Fael, because Fael feels betrayed, and while Perrin's like...
He's still trying. She understands it, but she just doesn't like it.
Yeah.
And Perrin's just like, you shouldn't be mad at her. You
Right.
know, I mean, she was kind of running away.
Right. She was doing what she had to do to survive. And Fael's a little bit of a hypocrite, because in book, when she...
Yeah, and she knew this too. She
Yeah.
realized that she'd done basically the same thing, but she was like, yeah, it still hurts though.
Right.
I mean, like, it's like, I wouldn't say it's hypocrisy. I feel like it's just like a taste of your own medicine, kind of.
Yeah.
Like, you don't like how it tastes.
Right.
It has a bad feeling.
Yep.
Even though she knows it may have been necessary, she just doesn't like it.
Right. So they have this trial, and Perrin represents the reason why you never defend yourself in a trial, because he gives himself the worst defense testimony ever.
No, he does pretty good.
You know, it's just...
I say it's not bad.
It's that...
It's his.
It could have been a lot better.
It's truthful.
Yeah.
That's
It's what he does. He doesn't go with any flattery.
Yeah, he
It's
just
just
explains.
straight to it.
He
Yeah.
explains himself. He doesn't give excuses. He only explains.
Yeah.
He always takes responsibility for his actions.
Right.
So Like, honestly, he's probably one of the best what are they called? Accused.
Yeah.
That has ever been mentioned in this book.
Yeah. What he should have done was write down what happened and and say, "Here, Fayo, this is what happened. Won't you explain it to her?" I think she would have done a better job of being able to get his point across.
But he was doing the only reason he agreed to it was to satisfy himself.
Yeah.
Because he wanted closure, and she wouldn't have given him closure. She would have done everything in her power to make sure he was seen as innocent.
Yeah,
and also that's not what he wanted. He just wanted closure.
And like he said, he wasn't going to accept. Well, he was going to accept the judgment, but he wasn't going to
until after the battle.
Yeah, after the battle. And he has Morghese be the judge and juror.
Yeah.
She does I think she's pretty fair.
Yeah,
in her
like, you are guilty, and I'm like, yeah, it kind of is considering he did kill someone, but you know. But then she's just like, but it's more of this other thing. I can't remember how she explained it, but it was some other thing that wouldn't have the charge of like, he didn't technically have the murder charge.
Right. He should have just explained, instead of talking about how they killed the wolves, like, he felt like his life was in danger, which, you know, it basically was. You know, it was more self-defense.
Yeah, but he was being truthful.
Yeah.
The only reason he actually did kill was because he lost control after his friend died. And it was like, and I love the reactions of some of the people when someone was like when one of the White Cloaks was really mad at him, was like, why'd you kill one of us, huh? All we did was kill a wolf. And he was like, because that was my friend.
Yeah. And so, right. And then we get the trial, and then we get to see Perrin's ability to, as a general, as he's able to think about battle strategies and see what's going on.
How there was the best way to come in through was the only way, and there was this thing that was stopping them from actually getting anywhere else from going that way. And he was like, "There's something there.
Yeah,
there's definitely something there."
And he realized that there was a way where they could be ambushed, and
and everyone
gets a battle plan.
Some of the people were like, and Fayo was like, she's like, nah, he wouldn't do this, right? Nah, he wouldn't. She had like
the whole time she's like, he won't do it. He won't betray the White Cloaks, and then she's like, has he changed that much?
No, that's not how it went.
Yeah.
No, she was just like, she's like, he really won't do it. Like when he was like, all right, everyone, start aiming your bows.
Right.
And she was kind of like, are you really gonna do it?
Are you really? Yeah. She's like, are you really going to ambush the White Cloaks?
Like she's like, there's no way he will, right? Yeah. He's not really gonna do it.
Yeah.
And then she was kind of concerned, and then when he told him to let go, she was like, and then,
yep.
But then everyone noticed the chalks coming out from the ground,
right?
You know, and they were like, "Oh, that's where we're aiming." And there was like one guy who was like trusted him a lot, I guess, and was like, "All right, you know, I may not agree with it, but you haven't led us astray so far. So if this is what you really think is right, I'll do it."
Right.
And you know, they learned they weren't aiming at the White Cloaks.
Yeah. So is this I can't remember, is this the book where he goes to the White Tower? This is the book where they fight in the White Tower, right? It wasn't the next. Yeah, this is the one. So so then we were talking about earlier with Iguain, and we go to the Dream World. We get a pretty cool battle in the White Tower in the Dream World between Masana and her followers against Iguain and the Wise Ones and some of the Aes Sedai, and then Perrin shows up.
And she's like, get out of here, what are you doing? And she's just like, I'm chasing someone, alright?
Right. Now, I think that is the first time they've met since the
it's been a
fourth book.
And then he blocks Balefire, and she's just like, no, that shouldn't have been possible. And he's just like, it's just a weave.
Yeah. And this is all
she's just like,
this is in the Dream World.
Yeah, she's like, no, it's not. He's just like, It is.
Right.
It doesn't. It technically doesn't exist.
Yeah, he captures it more that the dream is. It's more your mind is the most powerful thing.
Yeah, like the thing with Iguain is that she relies so much on her channeling.
Yeah.
Well, Perrin, since he doesn't have the channeling, he just like, all right, it's time to. You know what? I want the world to do what I want it to do, so I'm gonna make it do it, and there's no ifs and buts about it.
Right, and I think it clicks with Iguain there at the end when she's having that battle with Masana, and that's how she's able to crack
Yeah,
Masada.
he's kind of like Perrin didn't need to use his mind, didn't
Right.
need any abilities. He just kind of did it.
Yeah, with his mind.
Yeah, and so she was like, "All right, if he can do it, I should be able to do it." And
Yeah.
I'm like, "Sure," because you're totally as strong as he is in the dream.
Right. And then we go on to.
And then he chasing Slayer, and
Yep.
Hopper dies, and
Right.
things
Again.
happen. Yeah, he
Hopper
dies
dies
again
again.
permanently, and he's very upset about it. And he can't seem to get revenge on Slayer because Slayer is very good in the dream world.
Yes. And that's a really cool battle. And then I guess to finish up with Perrin, him and Fael finally gets a full
They have
reconciliation.
they have a
Back together. And then I guess, man, should we talk about this now or? Okay, so we'll talk about Perrin and Fael's meeting with Elaine. Is totally different from
it's
Elaine's
so bad.
meeting with Matt. And with Perrin and Fael, their meeting with Elaine, even though she's happy that she got her mom back, she's not very happy with Perrin at this time. And she threatens to behead him, which is like the
stupidest thing ever.
But I don't know if she's really serious.
No, when she invites him in, right? She's like, "All right, you have any requests or something?" And then they were like, "Nah, we just want to explain ourselves." And she was like,
All right.
"Right." And so they go into a room, and she's just like, "All right, now tell me why I shouldn't kill you."
Yeah.
And Perrin's like, "Pardon?"
Right. Well,
And
he's like, Rand wouldn't like that very
Rand,
much.
I'm like, I don't think Rand would like that. And I'm just like, yeah, that's right. You should totally kill Rand's childhood friend. He'll love you so much after that. He won't care all that you did that.
Right. And so we see.
She's like, he'll think like me. And I'm like, no, he won't.
Yeah. So it was good to see in this, like, Elaine's political ability go up against Fael.
Fael's is probably.
Yeah, I think Fael's political and how she's able. Fael's arrangement really was outshined Elaine's.
Especially since you have Perrin over there spouting his truth, and then you have her spouting more truth, but in a more different way. And so it's like, yeah, wait, what am I doing again? Like,
yes,
it could be very overwhelming, and Morghese when Morghese was like, "Excuse me, but no, don't do that. Don't do that, Elaine. You shouldn't do that."
Well, what you're talking about is when Elaine's talking about basically maybe having a big battle with Perrin, and she's like, "That wouldn't be a good idea."
She's like, "You would lose."
Yeah, so we see those, and then one problem that Fael has with Perrin is that Perrin kind of lacks ambition. And so when Morghese talks about this making him a steward,
he's just like, I don't really want to.
Yeah, Perrin's all happy. He's like, yeah, I'd be happy just to be a steward. So that's what they end up coming to the compromise that he'll be a steward over that area of Andor under the guise of Rand's hairs.
For some reason, though, Elaine thought she could try and negotiate her way out of a Ta'Varen's hold.
Yeah.
And anyone who's ever been anywhere near Ta'Varen is gonna be like, yeah, you're not gonna win that. No, you're just not. Just give up. There's nothing you can do about it. You have literally reality bending against you. You should just let him go.
Yep.
Wouldn't work. Like, even if she did try and execute them right, it wouldn't have done much because Perrin's Ta'Varen nature, like, the wheel needs him, right? Because it just needs him to help with this problem it has.
Right.
So it would eventually throw something in there to mess it up.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's basically what happened. And so
and you have Morghese there sitting just like, Elaine, you can't do this. He is a Ta'Varen. You might as well be trying to run through a brick wall as to try and do something like what you're trying to do with him. It's not going to work.
Yeah, and also they kind of, because Morghese being alive kind of throws a wrench into Elaine's being queen, so they kind of put Morghese out there
as an advisor.
Yeah, as an advisor, and that way she's out of sight, but she's got something important to do. And then that leads us to Matt, who finally gets rid of his Aes Sedai, and the old
Tylan finally says thanks.
Yes.
I'm just like, yay!
Thailand.
Yeah, she kind of explains why she acted the way she was, and I'm just like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, and then he's like, for your this is the only one who's ever actually voluntarily said thank you to him. Out of all of the women he saved, it was only her. I think Twan maybe one.
A red Aes Sedai.
Red Aes Sedai said thank you, and it's like. And, like, maybe, I think Twan also said thanks at some point, but, like, the only two, maybe, I can't remember if Twan did, but still, like, it's really saying something when, you know, he saved a lot of people, and then,
he gives them their horses so that they need, and he finally gets rid of the golem that's been chasing them forever, gets his revenge, and they kind of put him in a black hole kind of thing.
Yeah, I still don't know how the heck that thing. I want to know how you kill it though. Like, it's not satisfying if he's just gonna fall endlessly. He's just gonna keep falling, and I'm like, all right, is that the only way, or can you like actually kill him?
Well, I think if you use Matt's medallion's made of, if you had like a sword of that kind, you probably could kill it.
You could probably like destroy it, yeah. But like the thing, like the golem, it kind of. Like, some of the descriptions of its movement, like, it moved like water, right?
Yeah.
I'm, like, I just can't think of that. Like,
I think of more like Jello.
Yeah, kind of just being able to slip out of the way. But, like, it's like, it moves like a fade would, like, kind of serpentine a bit. And, like, really graceful. But in a more, like, unnatural way. Because at least the fade has a solid form you can actually, like hit and do things with, while the golem can just like squeeze through things because it just doesn't have any bones or organs or anything.
Right.
I don't even know what it is. It's I think the only thing that's on the inside of it is the one power, and the weave is like blocking it. So like, my theory is instead of organs, it has just that. It's just a suit. Like, its skin is just a suit for the one power, or the true power, I think, is what was used to create it.
I don't know. It's just a blob-like creature.
It's like, think of Mr. Fantastic, except minus the stretching abilities.
Yeah. So they destroy him, and then...
they don't destroy him, they just toss him into the void.
You get him out of the way. And then we have probably the...
It makes you sound like they just picked him up and blazed him on the side of the road. It's like, yeah, just stay there, don't do nothing.
Yeah, but then we have probably one of the best meetings... With Matt and Elaine, unlike Elaine and Perrin, this one goes a lot better. And you got one of probably the funniest letters ever with Matt.
A letter that has been needed to be written to Elaine for so long finally got to her.
Yep. And so he gets there and they start creating a new weapon, which is going to be the gun.
Elaine's like, I really want that. And Matt's just like, yeah, well, not yours. It belongs to someone else because... Right. You don't want to talk to that person or someone else. They could literally just not make it.
Right. Now we see...
Just go with her!
So there's all... Like, in this book, there's a lot of, like, political maneuvering. And then... So we get to see how Matt's political maneuvering is. And it's
basically
a little unorthodox.
He plays... He gambles at it. And he's very good at it. Because his gambles... He relies on his bluffing skills. And... Well, not really his bluffing skills. His exaggeration skills.
Right.
And so, like, he's able to just, like, convince people that if they want this thing to happen, they got to do what he wants because there's no other way it would happen. And in most cases, it usually is that way.
Yep. So
because Aludra would not be happy if her inventions were to go to someone else, and she was like, no, they're mine.
Right.
They're 100% mine. You'll have to pay me for them.
Right.
So or else I'm just not going to make them.
Yeah, so he bargains with Elaine. He gets basically keep a lot of the cannons, and she gets to keep his mercenaries for a time of his little army group for
his band.
Yeah, for a time period. And we get to see before we get to Matt and Moraine's storyline. Matt finally reunites with Perrin, and they have. Yep, and we see that Fael's not really the biggest Matt fan at all.
I don't really like him. She's like, he's a really bad influence.
Right.
And I'm like, well, I can't say he isn't, but he's better than what most people think.
Right. Well, yeah. The thing with Perrin is like he's a homebody. He's always doing stuff with her at home,
like, you also saw,
and then he goes out with Matt. Matt's keeping him out late drinking and stuff. So that kind of bothers Phil.
Yeah, it's probably more than just bad influence. It's more like jealousy or something.
I think it's
she's one of those jealous wives though. She does get a little jealous.
Yeah, she's definitely a jealous wife.
It's just not to a point where it's annoying. It's just to a part where it's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's so to the point where I think it's more that Matt's a bad influence on Perrin. So I guess if Elaine,
it's probably more like that too. But
yeah,
I'm just saying there's probably just a little bit more to it than that.
Yeah, so if there's one thing that Elaine and Phil probably would agree on, it's probably Matt's bad influence. Yes,
I mean you see what he did to Olver, and he did it without even knowing.
Right. Yeah, I love how Matt's always saying, if I find an uncle that
taught him these things, I'm gonna beat his butt.
Yeah. See, not realizing that Olver's getting all his habits.
I'm just like, you should start taking off those shoes and kicking yourself in the rear.
Right. So that's a pretty good. And then, so finally we get Tom, Matt, Tom, and what's his name?
Noel.
Yeah. Going after Moraine. They go to the tower thing.
Tower of Ginch.
Yep. I guess we should mention that the meeting between Matt and Brigitte was pretty cool as well.
Yeah. She was...
She's the one.
She's probably one of the other nicer female characters. Most females are either... So this is the variety of female characters that interact with Matt. Either one, they flirt with him like he does with them, or two, they hate his guts and want him to go away. Yeah. And it's usually the second part with most of the female characters. And then you have like those select few, which are like not even major characters, like more like serving girls or something.
Right. Well, yeah. So him and Brigitte get together, sharing information about the tower.
And she's like, you just don't go there. And he's like, well, I have to.
And of course, they both have to rescue Elaine because Elaine gets herself in trouble again.
Yeah, I don't even remember. Oh, yeah, because she was like, I'm going to dress up like the Forsaken and go and bother the Black Aja.
You're right.
And then, it all goes down.
And people get killed again. Because of her.
Yeah. But then still, the timing was also pretty bad considering there was a breakout in progress at the time.
Right.
But,
So, yep.
But imagine if she forgot to put the weave on her slippers. Just walking in, you see this dark cloaked figure walk through, right, with bright red eyes. And you look down at the feet, and there's these pink fluffy slippers.
Yeah, that would have been funny.
That would have been great.
Okay, so we get Matt and them to go after Moraine into the tower, and Matt's gambling. His luck definitely comes into play in this, and now we see why. What they tell him at the beginning, what book? Book 4, where they tell him he's going to lose an eye to save the world, because he has to sacrifice the eyeball to save Moraine, and even then they barely get out alive. At least everybody, but what's his name?
Because of
Noel.
Who turns out he was Jane, I think, Jane Farstrider.
Yeah. So, when I first read this, I was kind of surprised, that Moraine and Tom, I was kind of like Matt, like, what? Really? You guys got a thing going on? I was kind of surprised the first time reading through this.
I was too, just a little bit. Like, I kind of saw it, but I thought it was more like a close friendship, and then, like, they started flirting, and I'm like,
yeah. Like, I knew, like, they were friends, but I didn't think they were that close until...
But they were.
Yeah, to the end here. I guess he does give some hints where he says, he thought somebody was an enemy, but now they're his friend or something. But he's talking to the man.
And I mean, also the way that he's always holding that letter.
Yeah.
Like, he's always reading it over, and I was like, yeah, I think there is probably something a little bit more going on. But it just never clicked.
Right.
Until it got there. And then I was like, oh, wait, what?
Yeah.
I missed everything.
So, yeah, that was a good adventure there, the last 2 or 3 chapters of them trying to rescue Moraine. And even Matt, who doesn't really like Aes Sedai, he was, like, grateful, happy that he was able to save her. And you get the whole thing about Tuon, he's like, Moraine, I think it was Moraine and Tom said something like, to Matt, like, I can see why Tuon couldn't. I don't know. Fell in love with you.
Oh, because he's really he keeps his word.
Yeah, or
Just-
no, because he keeps on talking to him about how he wouldn't do this. Like, was it about him? How Tom doesn't like Aes Sedai and stuff, and Matt says some kind of word, and she's like, I can sarcastically, she says, I can see why she couldn't.
Wandering,
Princess couldn't keep away from him or something.
Yeah, and then like he's a really silly character.
Yeah. I mean, the last 2 or 3 books, any chapter that Matt's in is like it's like the highlight of the book.
Yeah, it's
really.
really pretty funny.
Yeah, I think by the end of the series, I think Matt's probably probably my favorite character. I look forward to his chapters.
Yeah, he's like the only sane one.
Yeah, and they're always funny and adventurous. I mean, he also got that line when he's with Perrin, when Fael sends somebody to fetch Perrin, and then Matt's like, "That's why I keep my wife in another kingdom." He has that.
Yeah.
He has that comment.
Or his little spiel about boots. One of my favorite quotes from him was him talking about why he didn't like noble people, and he was like, because of the boots.
Yeah.
And he was trying to explain it to Satel, and he was like, what?
And when he talks to the Tamales, yeah, about women, how they'll cheat. Well, like they'll have a dice that has no markings on them, and they'll cheat on you.
Yeah.
On the markings. Anything else you want to say about this book?
No.
Man, we rambled on for a long time. Well, if anybody's still here after 50-some minutes, thank you for watching this video.
May the force be
Yeah,
with you.
you made the force be with you. Rand's the Anakin storyline was definitely over by now. Oh, we didn't even mention Nynaeve. I guess we could talk about Nynaeve for about 4 minutes.
Oh, good grief.
And Nynaeve finally becomes a full Aes Sedai in this.
Iguain adds another thing to the I hate you meter.
Yeah. So why don't you like her?
She's like, yeah, I can't be biased with you, so I'll just.
Well, you gotta explain why
like,
you're.
So
what's going on?
So the trial, right?
Yeah.
This Aes Sedai are able to manipulate the reality inside of this gateway, right?
Right.
So she goes in there, she does all these things, does all the weaves and things like that, and then like these other things start popping up, like her village being torn to pieces and people that she cares about dying, and then one where it came to land about to be killed by dark hounds, and she started using balefire,
Right.
and it was like, and she dragged him out, but and like I'm just sitting there, and when Iguain explained that she was the one who did it,
Yeah.
I was like, Iguain, there's a fine line between not being biased and being very harsh.
Going
and
overboard.
She didn't exactly even have a reason to be harsh. She just did it, and I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why did you do this? And it's like, and then when Iguain was like, and then some of the Aes Sedai were like, you broke the rules. You ran and you weaved before you got to the circle,
Right.
and then you will balefire. And then she was like, oh, okay, so we're not supposed to help people, right? We're not. If people are dying around us, we're supposed to be walking like it's a normal sunny day, right? We're not supposed to be doing anything about it until we get to a certain spot.
Yeah, that's
I think not. We should be doing something by now.
Yeah, so this gonna fail Nynaeve, but then Iguain helped her out and said, "You guys realize that this is the woman who cured stealing. Her husband is the king. He's gonna be king, and all these other great deeds that Nynaeve said, and so they passed her on that.
Honestly, she's the only good Aes Sedai, other than maybe Pavara. At least Pavara doesn't play so many mind games. She's a nice person. She doesn't play, like, I haven't seen her play very many mind games. I just seen her just do things.
Right. For me, like, at the beginning of the series, Nynaeve was, like, my least liked character, but for each book, she came more and more. She's probably my favorite female character.
Yeah, she's the only, and she seems to be the only smart one, apparently. Like out of, like, maybe Fael and Tuan, they're pretty intelligent, but after those few, it's like, all the other ones are really just
I would put Moraine up there.
It's like, it's usually the rulers, the female rulers. They're usually the dumber ones. Like Iguain, She gets pretty stupid. Her intelligence level goes down pretty quickly. Elaine's intelligence level always stayed at 0. I don't know what happened with her.
Well, I think you don't really like those two because they use people.
They use people and then they do it wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'd be somewhat okay with it if they at least used them correctly, right? And, like, actually succeeded most of the time. But they seem to fail quite a bit.
Yeah.
And then Elaine seems to be oblivious to everyone around her.
Yeah. Well, they use, like, Iguain and, they use everybody to the point where they get all the benefits and there's nothing that benefits other person.
Yeah, that's another thing that I don't like either. Like,
wow, you see, like, with Perrin and Fael, when Matt, when
they always benefit. They try to do everything that benefits everyone.
They're getting stuff out of it, but the person,
everyone else is also
getting.
And same with how Rand became at the end.
Yeah, Rand's like that at the end too.
And then it's like some of the rulers were like they're gonna try and milk as much of the like benefits out of a person until they're like dry, and I'm just like, you guys, why? And like Elaine's just plain dumb. Like everywhere she goes, everything goes up in flames.
I gotta feel that Elaine's probably your least favorite character in the whole series.
She kind of is. She's just so. It's not that I hate her. It's just that I find her really stupid. Like stupid as in like really just not intelligent. She seems very dumb.
Like you're
quite off. Like she made so many stupid choices that are obviously not right.
I guess that's good that she does. I mean, she's only, what, 19, 20 years old. But
I mean, like, but nobody's that reckless.
Yeah, she's
very reckless. I guess she is, but, like, all the... I mean, Iguain, I think she's, like, a little younger than she is, and she's still smarter than Elaine is. And Elaine's been raised her whole life to do this, do the thing.
And Iguain says...
She seemed to learn nothing from it.
Yeah, Iguain wasn't really trained to be a queen or anything.
Iguain wasn't trained to do it, and she was still better at it than Elaine was.
Yep.
And for Elaine's like, she's smart. I don't exactly like her, but she's not like, I don't hate her. I just dislike some of the way she views things. Like, it's to the point where I understand her, but it doesn't mean I have to like what she does.
Right.
But, like, it's like...
Well, I'm ready to end this video.
Yeah.
It's been an hour. That's an hour too long. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope...
You did?
Hit the like button, leave a comment. If you're still here, thank you for watching an hour. Hope we were entertaining enough. We should have been.
Make sure you put some words in the comments. He might have ran out.
Yep. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye.